Celestial signs. Master Li lived in the game preserve of Zheng for 40 years without anyone recognizing him. The ruler of the state and the nobles and grandees looked upon him as one of the peasants. During a famine, he was going to go to Wei. His disciples said, "If you go with no prospect of returning, how will we call with questions, and how will you teach? Haven't you heard the word of Lin, master of Pot Hill?" Master Li laughed and said, "What does Pot Hill have to say?" Even so, the master once spoke to the blind man Elder Darkness, and I stood by listening. I'll try to tell you what he said. There is that which is born and that which is unborn. There is that which changes and that which is unchanging. The unborn gives birth to that which is born. The unchanging produces change. What is born cannot but be born. What changes cannot but change. Therefore, they are always being born, always changing. What is always being born, always changing, is never not living, never not changing. Yin and yang are thus, the four seasons are thus. The unborn seems singular. The unchanging is cyclic, with no final limit. No end can be found to the course of the seemingly singular. A book of the Yellow Emperor says, "The valley spirit does not die." This is called the mystic female. The opening of the mystic female is called the root of heaven and earth. Continuous, as if it were there, its application is effortless. So what gives birth to things and beings is not born. What changes things and beings is unchanging. Natural birth, natural change, natural formation, natural coloring, natural intelligence, natural strength, natural waning and waxing. If you refer to these as that which produces and changes, forms and colors, enlightens and empowers, destroys and revives, this is incorrect. Master Lai said, "In ancient times, sages summed up heaven and earth in terms of yin and yang. If what has form originates in no form, then where do heaven and earth come from? Therefore, it is said that there was a cosmic evolution, a cosmic origin, a cosmic beginning, and a cosmic elemental. In the cosmic evolution, energy is not yet manifest. The cosmic origin is the beginning of energy. The cosmic beginning is the beginning of form. The cosmic elemental is the beginning of substance. When energy, form, and substance are all present yet not separated, that is called the undifferentiated, meaning that myriad things are mutually undifferentiated and not yet separate from one another. You cannot see it when you look, you cannot hear it when you listen, you cannot find it when you follow, so it is called evolution. Evolution has no formal boundaries. Evolution undergoes change, constituting a unity. The one changes into seven, seven turns into nine, nine's change is final, then it reverts to one. One is the beginning of form. What is clear and light rises to become heaven. What is opaque and heavy sinks to become earth, while blended energy becomes humanity. Therefore, heaven and earth contain vitality from which myriad things and beings are produced. Master Lai said, "Heaven and earth do not have complete efficiency. Sages do not have complete ability. Myriad beings do not have complete vitality. Therefore, heaven's job is to create and to cover. Earth's job is to form and support. Sage's job is to teach and civilize. Everyone's job is what they're suited for. Thus, heaven is lacking in some ways, while earth is excellent in some ways. Some things are inaccessible to sages, while some things are accessible to anyone. Why? Because that which creates and covers cannot form and support. That which forms and supports cannot teach and civilize. They who teach and civilize cannot deviate from the appropriate. The appropriately determined does not depart from its position. So the course of heaven and earth is either yin or yang. The teaching of sages is either humanity or justice. The proper state of things is either soft or hard. These all conform to the appropriate and cannot depart from their positions. So there is birth, and there is that which gives birth to birth. There is form, and there is that which forms form. There is sound, and there is that which makes sound sound. There is color, and there is that which colors color. There is flavor, and there is that which flavors flavor. What birth gives birth to dies, but what gives birth to birth never ends. What form forms is substance, but what forms form has none. The sound made by sound is audible, but what makes sound sound is not emitted. What color colors is visible, but what colors color is not manifest. What flavor flavors can be tasted, but what gives flavor to flavor cannot be tasted. These are all functions of the uncreated. It can be yin or yang, soft or hard, short or long, round or square, vital or morbid, hot or cold, floating or sinking, high or low, appearing or disappearing, dark or light, sweet or bitter, foul or fragrant. It has no knowledge and no ability, yet there is nothing it does not know, nothing it cannot do. When Master Lai traveled to Wei, as they were eating a meal on the way, his followers found a 100-year-old skull. Pulling out the tangle of weeds and pointing to the skull, he looked back at his disciple Bai Feng and said, "Only he and I know we've never been born and never die. Is he to grieve after all? Am I to rejoice? How many species there are? If a frog becomes a quail, in water it becomes water plantain. At water's edge it becomes moss. Growing on high ground it becomes plantain. When plantain is on a dung heap, it becomes crowfoot grass. Crowfoot roots become maggots, the blades become butterflies. Butterflies are evanescent, changing into grubs. They hatch under stoves. Shaped like sloughed-off skins, they're called parrot plucks. In 1,000 days, parrot plucks transmute into birds called dry leftover bones. The saliva of dry leftover bones, birds becomes a kind of insect, which turns into a vinegar bug. The vinegar-eating bug produces vinegar flies. Vinegar flies produce bacon beetles. Bacon beetles produce mosquitoes. Mosquitoes produce cucumber flies. Sheep liver turns to matter. Horse blood turns to phosphorus. Human blood turns to foxfire. Kites become sparrowhawks. Sparrowhawks become cuckoos, with cuckoos eventually turning back into sparrowhawks. Swallows become clams. Field mice become quails. Rotten melons become fish. Leeks become amaranth. Old ewes become monkeys. Fish eggs become insects. Animals on certain mountains reproduce by parthenogenesis. Some water birds reproduce by gazing at each other. There's a totally female species called big waist and a totally male species called immature ants. Sensitive men are aroused without marrying. Sensitive women get pregnant without marrying. Ho Chi was born from a giant footprint. Yi Yin was born in a hollow mulberry tree. Dragonflies are born in moisture. Flies are born in wine lees. Weeds grow by bamboo. Old bamboo produces insects. Insects produce panthers. Panthers produce horses. Horses produce humans. People eventually resolve into elements. All things and all beings come from elements, and all go back to elements. The Book of the Yellow Emperor says, when form moves, it doesn't produce form. It produces shadows. When sound travels, it doesn't produce voices. It produces echoes. When nothingness stirs, it doesn't produce non-being. It produces being. Form is something that must have an end. Do heaven and earth end? Along with us, they come to an end. Is the end final? I don't know. The Tao ends in basic beginninglessness. It reaches finality in original impermanence. What is born returns to an unborn state. What has form returns to a formless state. What is not born is not the fundamental unborn. What has no form is not the fundamental formless. What is born must logically come to an end. What comes to an end cannot but end. Similarly, what is born cannot but come into being, yet to wish to perpetuate its existence and curtail its demise is to be deluded about inevitability. The vital spirit is an allotment from heaven. The physical body is the allotment of earth. The celestial is clear and diffused. The earthly is opaque and condensed. When the vital spirit leaves the body, each returns to its reality. Hence the term ghost. Ghosthood means return, returning to the true home. The Yellow Emperor said, when the vital spirit goes through its door and the physical body returns to its roots, how can the self still be there?